And we are joined by the former Labour advisor Matthew Larser and the author and broadcaster Emma Wolfen Studio. And we haven't talked about Meghan for a very long time.
Well, this is about suicidal ideations, which apparently Meghan Markle says she was having. It's not our place to question whether that is true or not. But she's saying this, Matt, isn't she, so that we can all be aware of online harms and therefore what? We can't have anonymity online anymore?
Yeah, I think it's a bit... I mean, obviously, you know, her personal story is very affecting, and I think it will help people, you know, to hear the issues. Because we hear issues around mental health, but we don't often hear in detail about suicidal ideation, which is that people having thoughts about suicide, not necessarily having a detailed plan to do it. So I think that's important. But then if you're going to say it's all about online harms, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you want to change? What rules do you want to introduce or you know, or alter? And I think that's the issue, that it doesn't actually go anywhere.
So, because she's given us a talk in America, she's supporting a charity, all very noble. So the suicidal... It was because of what she was reading about herself online. Is that what she said?
Well, I think she thinks it's because of the whole structure, really, of what she went through.
What did she go through?
About herself. Well, you know, she thinks she's been through trial by tabloids. Others would disagree.
Oh, that again.
Emma.
That again.
I don't often agree with Meghan Markle. In fact, I never agree with Meghan Markle. Good. But actually, on this, I'm reaching a point where I think the anonymity online and the abuse and the vitriol and the violence and the threats that you can fling at people online is actually really getting too much. And I think that it is dangerous. And I do think that when you receive really hateful, blasphemous messages from people, and it's always the be kind, the kind of hate mob, the kind of, well, we know who we're talking about. They're almost 99.9% anonymous. And I think we do need to look at that. It's almost impossible to
But what do you mean? I mean, listen, we should be honest. We had the debate on the show last week about the Olympic volleyball player, and we tried, you and I, to get some nuance across about the fact that... well, let's not go there again. But the
rapist.
The rapist, absolutely, found guilty, spent time in prison, etc. We thought we were having a conversation about whether people can be rehabilitated.
Yeah. Whether there's ever redemption, whether redemption is ever possible once you have committed a heinous crime, which was absolutely a horrible, unacceptable crime.
And while sort of talking that through, you said something which I don't know whether you would back that up now or whether you would go back a little bit on...
I already issued a fulsome apology and then received thousands and thousands and thousands more, and I mean this, rape and death threats, in my personal email address, and also on Twitter.
Me too. Me too. I had a really tough time this week. But, again, I would still, and I know this is controversial, I would defend people's right to send me mean messages.
Yeah, and I've always had this...
I'm not sure I would.
Well, it's the world we're in now.
It is.
How can you stop them, Emma? How can you stop it? And
I don't see the benefit of people being anonymous. I know people say, well, it can help with things like support message boards and things like that. But I actually think we've reached a point on Twitter where the nastiness and the abuse...
They'll find another way around it.
Of course they will.
They will.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point.
But also, bear in mind, do you want it to become easier for the government? Might be a government you don't like. Think of the politician you hate the most. This is what I always do. Think of the politician you hate the most and imagine them knowing exactly what you're saying, doing online, and how you could get a knock on the door to say, we don't approve of what you said this morning, Matthew Larser.
Well, we're going to have this in relation to the riots, aren't we? Because the government is going to haul in, as that phrase that they always... the spin doctors always use, the social media companies this week.
Yeah, really, are they, again?
I don't think.
And do what?
The front page of the Times. I don't think most of these people, some of them have their faces covered. Many of them, you could identify them as
quite easily.
I mean,
next door neighbour.
Easily. They are committing violence and thuggery with impunity.
And a lot of them are just stupid, ignorant young boys.
Exactly, of course
looking for a Barney.
Looking for a, you know, it's summer, it's hot,
They're bored.
It's the weekend.
They probably haven't got a job.
Torch some stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should confuse that with the deeper issues that we need to discuss about society and about community.
Let's not forget we were talking about Meghan here. She talked about when she was here.
I know, and she's talking about her treatment within the royal family and all that. Suicide is an incredible... I've had friends, I had a partner who committed suicide. It's such a serious subject. And we have to take whatever she says seriously, and it's good to encourage that debate. But she had... Yeah, well, it's difficult to talk about anybody else's experience of...
Sure.
So if she felt that way, she felt that way, and I'm glad that she's feeling better.